Well, I did all sports when I was younger, and we were up in. I actually used to go to the multi-gym in my secondary school, and my only purpose to go to the multi-gym, we used to have a game of football at the end of it, and it was to prove to the brothers that I was good enough to get on the football team, but they only wanted 6 foot plus, and it was like, you know, so we were just up there one night, and they ran off a load of competitions, like they had indoor pole vault, they had a triple jump, and they had the walks, all the technical events, and it was just, you know, it was just another competition for me, and it went on from there really. There was trials for the school team, and got in the school team, and went to South Munsters, went to Munsters, went to All Irelands, and then went international, and you know, started from there. When I was a junior, I developed really late, so I didn't make massive jumps in any of my sports until I was 17 and 18, and I ended up, when I did my leaving cert, I went to a school in Cork that specialised in athletes going over to America and running scholarships, and I wanted to go on a walking scholarship, so I went to that school for a year. Ended up running for the school off of my walking training and became their #1 man, and got offered a running scholarship, and there was no walking scholarships going, but I went to the European Juniors that year as well, and they were on in Slovenia, and came back from there, and my eyes were opened to just a whole new world, you know, like coming from the parochial GA games that we were, like, you know, brainwashed into doing when we were younger, and there was no world outside our local GA team, to going over to Slovenia and seeing all the international athletes, and it just gave me a taste for it, and I came back. It's getting better. Like, I was over in the Institute of Sport yesterday, and it's definitely, the services around the athletes now are better, but we need to get an environment. Like, I can remember when I was away training with the Poles, they were away training 178 days of the year. They were on camp, and on camp by default they have nothing else to do. You're institutionalised, you're training morning, evening, you've got physios, doctors, you've everything at your disposal, and it takes all the thinking out of things, and you just get on and you do your work. And if we do the same here, and which they are doing it, they're starting to build athletes accommodation now in Dublin, and the athletes are in an environment where they don't have any other stresses. The only energy they're putting into is their training, and if there's good coaches and they can educate the athletes, and we can bring them to the point where they're 27, 28, 29, and they're mature physically and mentally, then we'll have the best athletes on the world stage, you know. 20 and 50 is so different. 20 is very, very aggressive. Like, you know, if anybody's at a 20k walk at a World or Olympic Games, they'll realise how fast and aggressive it is. And I learned the mistake in my first 50k of going off with a fellow who won a medal in the World Championships the year previous, and the pace was so slow to me, and I had a 20k mentality, and I got to 40k and I just totally blew, and I crawled the last 10k, and it was like a crucifixion. Like, it was like, you know, it was so tough, but I learned fast from it, like, and the next time I had to do it, I had everything prepared, I had all of my drinks prepared. So, like, the 50k is not just going from point A to B, you're concentrating on your splits the whole way, you're concentrating on your heart rates, you're concentrating on the amount of fuel that you're taking in, so that after 40k, that you're not, like, anybody can get to 40k. 40k is only the start point. With anything, and if you go to any local road races or any, if somebody puts down a plan and they follow through with it, and they do everything, you know, all the small things right, and you do everything, and you go out, and what result you get on the day, whether it's 1st or 10th or 15th, you know yourself if you're going to be happy with it. And you know, I went to London and with the crowd, and you know, everything that I put into it in the years coming up to it, and knowing for the 4 previous years that this was the only day I was going to be judged on. And when you see the other factors, like a lot of the people who were favourites for the race ended up cracking, and all right, I didn't win a medal, but you know, I would have probably won in every other Olympics, but just on the day there was 3 fellas better, unfortunately, like, and there was nothing I could do about it. And I respect them for, even the Chinese fellow who finished 3rd, I respect him because he knew I was coming, and for him to hold on, you're going, it's a good effort, like, you know. But I was upset, but when that's sport, you know. The World Championships are on in Russia in August this year, so that always after an Olympic year there's kind of there's a mental dip, but you know, this year because they're on in Russia, and Russia is the powerhouse of world walking. To take on the Russians in Russia is like, for me, it's like the Rocky scenario, you know, and you have to kind of capitalise off the negative, and that's what I'm that's going to motivate me this year. So I'm not going to, you know, I probably end up going to Rio, but I don't want to kind of go. I've seen a lot of people, and they'll go, oh, the four-year cycle and the Olympics is in 4 years, and don't judge me on the first 3 years, which practically is right, and then they won't perform on the 4th year anyway. So you have to have intermediate goals as well. So the World Championships this year is very important to me, you know. Before I magically came upon this machine, I after being away in training camps, and with the mileage that I do, and you know, your feet take a hammering, and you know, if you have any calluses or dry skin, and if that builds up in your feet, and you're starting to alter your technique to avoid it, small little things like that, which people wouldn't think are relevant, you could get an injury in your knee or an injury in your hip. And I've gone to the point in the past where nearly shaving my foot with a blade, like, you know, to get the dry skin off, and cutting myself, you know, was like going, it's like the Father Ted scenario, Dougal with the car, I'll just go an extra bit, like, you know. For me, the MICRO Pedi Man it's an important tool in my training, because I can just throw it in my bag, and when I'm away, it's, you know, it's a good tool. At night time, just sitting down relaxing, I can just make sure that there's no, I don't have any build-up of calluses or hard skin in my feet that could lead on to an injury, or, you know, that could alter my technique. So, you know, this device for me, it's great, and it's a good addition to my training setup.